Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the French Tier 9 light tank, the EBR 90. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the EBR 90, it is a wheelie boy. And it's a tank that I didn't enjoy when I ground through it. I thought it was a dreadful, dreadful tank. Has that experience really increased? No, it's still pretty horrible tank. It's an absolute nightmare to drive. The gun on it is very meh. The view range on it is poor. It's got pretty good camo though, to be fair to it. Its mobility is pretty good as well. But generally, a lot about this tank is very ew. And the fact is, it's a scout, but it can't really scout that well because, yeah, sure, it's an active scout. But more often than not, the tank likes to slide. If you're going at full speed and you turn too sharply, this tank just goes, yay, wee, slide, and skids away into a position where you're just like, oh, I'm going to die now. On the whole, if you get fully stationary and get into a good position to use this gun, the gun can be fairly accurate. But the DPM's okay. The penetration is lacking, realistically. And like I say, you don't really have much armor. You do have occasionally, because you're a light tank, naturally. No light tank has armor, really. Not realistically, anyway. But you do have wheels, and the wheels can occasionally take shots that you sit there going, really? Okay, then. Also, you don't have the best gun depression in the universe, too, on this tank. But what hurts it for me is the fact that it's just so awkward to drive. Depending on the map can be vital for this kind of vehicle, because you can feel like you are stuck, because there's some positions that you want to take that you just can't, because you're like, I'm probably going to kill yourself, especially if you're a bad driver like I am, and you go, I can't do this isn't good. Also, the good spotting locations just aren't good for you in an EBR 90, because you've only got 422 meters of view range with the build that I run, which is absolutely atrocious for a tier 9, meaning that even though I've got good steel concealment at 227 meters of concealment, I just get outspotted all the time, and that is really frustrating. But the camo does help me to get to some very sneaky locations that you might be able to see in one of the replays in the future, where you sit there going, I'm unspotted here? Okay, I'll take it. It's fine, right? So, the tank does have a 65 km/h top speed with a 60 km/h reverse speed, so it does have the meme that it can travel backwards as fast as it can go forwards, which is definitely handy. If you press, English is hard, people. If you press left on the D-pad, you can go into the speed mode, where it doesn't turn quite as sharply, but you go even faster, and that speed can be pretty nice for the EBR 90, as it can go at 78 kilometers an hour in that top speed, well, in that speed mode, which is very, very nice. We've got 38.62 horsepower per ton ratio, which means that, yes, it travels exceptionally quickly. It's got a 20% internal fire chance, which is on the higher end of internal fire chances, and yes, it does get set on fire if they pen you and avoid the wheels. Generally, it will light up, which is a very frustrating aspect of the old EBR 90. Ground resistances do not hold the vehicle back too much at all. 72 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed is stupidly quick. It turns so fast. And it's part of the reason that I think it possibly ends up sliding at times when you're at full speed in the speed mode. You sit there going, oh, why? You just basically slide out and lose all of your momentum. You've got 422 meters of view range, which is poor. Very, very poor. 227 meters of still concealment, though, is pretty good. 71.68 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed is exceptionally rapid. A little bit slower than your hull, but generally it's still exceptionally rapid. 0.83 accuracy during rotation isn't that great. It's not bad either. That's in the line of, it's okay. With a 1.74 accuracy during movement, though, without running the gun stabilizer, actually, to be fair, without the gun stabilizer, those two stats together aren't that badly, and they don't affect the aim circle too much. But you have a 1.29 second aim time, which is incredible. And that means this gun aims in stupidly quickly, which is good for the EBR 90. You got 0.31 accuracy at 100 meters, which occasionally means this gun just likes to derp the floor, which can be a bit frustrating. 6 degrees of gun depression is awkward on this vehicle. It makes it a bit annoying to use on a ridgeline. You have to overexpose at times to be able to use the gun, especially since it's a mid-hull turret, which means you really have to go over a ridgeline to get the gun down on target. You've got a 5.69 second reload, which is 2.5k DPM, which is, again, it's not bad, but it's also not that nice, and especially since you don't have the ability to spot targets very easily, and especially the more stealthy tanks like that Gorilla 15 there, for example, you struggle to spot them unless they fire, and then not having much else going for you can be pure pain. There's the wheels, by the way. You've got 185mm of penetration on the standard AP rounds, which is just poor, with 230mm of penetration on the premium heat rounds, which is decent, but it does struggle against quite a few tier 10s in this tank, which can be a bit annoying, realistically. And you've got 1,150 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP rounds, with 850 meters a second shell velocity on the premium heat rounds, which means that the heat rounds are much slower than your AP, meaning you have to give a good amount of lead to be able to hit the target with those heat rounds. The AP rounds, though, are above average. 1,150 meters a second shell velocity for an AP round isn't too bad. It's just not exceptional, right? But it's pretty decent, though. It can be good for the old EBR 90. So as you saw, that first game, we finished with the 1,507 base XP, with a 3,700 damage and a good amount of assistance there for the French Tier 9 Wheelie Boy light tank. And yeah, what do I run in terms of a crew on the old Wheelie Boy, on the EBR 90? Like I say, a tank that I really didn't enjoy playing. I do run Born Reader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Advanced Loader, Camo Net, Optics. Optics to be able to get up to 422 meters of view range, because by God, you need to help the view range. It is atrocious. The Camo Net to get to 227 meters of still concealment, and 227 meters of on-the-move concealment, because it's a light tank. It has the same concealment on the move as it does stationary. All 3 gun perks to make sure that this gun can be as accurate as possible, because otherwise it can be pain. And then the advanced loader to make the best out of the DPM, with camouflage expertise and muffled shot to make it so that I get the best camo out of the vehicle I can while staying unspotted while I'm firing easier. And it helps you to abuse positions like you're seeing here, which can be pretty handy. Although, obviously, when you're shooting at something like an FV215B that has fantastic view range and you've got no concealment between you, he's still probably going to end up spotting you anyway. So yeah, the one thing I did forget to mention with this tank is you do have the speed mode. Well, I did mention it, but the thing I forgot to mention about the speed mode when you press left on the D-pad is that it is similar to the turbo mode that you have on a CS63 or on the Cobra T54, in that when you go into that mode, your gun handling becomes absolutely atrocious. It means that your aim circle becomes huge, accuracy gets worse, so you end up gaining the speed for generally worse gun handling. So if you get stuck into a knife fight with a light tank, you want to switch back to the normal mode, and that way you can end up fighting them quite nicely with this gun. But honestly, you want to be stationary while firing this gun, because if you're any somewhat on the move, your aim circle is massive and this gun is just a pain to use. But from locations like this, it can be pretty okay. So this second replay, we are on Corellia. It is Corellia Assault, and what I did in my Wheelie Boy was decide, okay, I don't really want to fight on the JK12, I don't really want to fight at AB90. So what I'm going to do is push to this rock here. And for a light tank, or for any tank that is fast and has good camo, this is a pretty nice position to take. Because if you've got people camping, you can spot the people that do camp for their team at G7 and get assistance that way and stop their campy TDs, but also, like that 268 we spotted, but also you can shoot both flanks. You can get good side shots into both flanks from this position. And with good camo, you can stay unspotted quite easily as well. We're up to 594 damage so far with 216 assistance, and we're just trying to find shots into the side of the enemy team so that I can help out my team defend that flank. We put a shot into the side of the Ruthless, looking for a shot at the T249 Black, but sadly we got spotted, and I don't want to get Burted right now or get M60'd, so we're just running away, and that's where it's quite helpful to have the same reverse speed as it does front speed, because no matter which way I'm facing, I can get out of dodge very, very quickly. Our wheels take another hit, which again is an asset for the tank, is the fact that the wheels like to take hits, and just like that Gorilla 15 in the previous game, you sit there going, that didn't pen? Okay, and that is because the tank is actually quite high up. The wheelbase that you see here, from about halfway down on the wheelbase, there is no tank behind it. It is purely air, because you're shooting through 2 sets of wheels, essentially. So If you're shooting at this vehicle, you really want to shoot higher up, because the lower you hit down on the wheels, the more likely it is on a wheelie boy, you're just not going to pen it, you're just going to do wheel damage only. And you'll sit there going, what, how did I not pen it? And it's because the tanks on these wheelie boys are generally really high up on the wheels, and there's not much tank behind it from about halfway down on it, so you just want to avoid shooting it down low on the wheels and shoot as high as possible, essentially, on these tanks. And you want to do that anyway. You want to try and avoid just shooting too low and shoot above the wheels, so that you're actually guaranteed to be going through these things. And especially when you're firing HE from tanks, or high pen HE, stuff like that, the tank is very, well, it's got no armor. That's the best way to put it. It's got 16mm of armor, so if you're hitting above the wheels, you're going to be penning it with HE, which is a very nice thing to do. So you can see we got a shot into the drive wheel of the WZ-111 GFT there, because it tracked it in place. I could see the guy starting to turn to faces, and I didn't want anything to do with his 152mm gun. So we tracked him in place, kept him pinned, and then we moved back into the middle of the map to go after this M60. Because the M60 got spotted crossing the open, so we're just looking for shots into his rear again, trying to stop his advance across the middle of the map. He turns towards us with a P185 pen. We can't actually go through an M60. We need the premium rounds to go through an M60, and that tank doesn't really have that much armor. But I see that the heavy tank and the TD are starting to pressure again on the TD at A9. So I'm really thinking about going back up there to go try and distract them, get shots into their rear. But I just kind of want to get rid of the M60 first, because the M60 is going to be a bit of a problem in that middle area. He's going to be spotting my camping tanks and my tank destroyers, so we don't want that guy to live. So we're going to try and find an angle to be able to shoot him from this middle area. And you can just see the outline occasionally when he was getting, well, when he was spotted. So I'm just going to wait for him to get spotted again, maybe find a shot into him, see if I can get any shots possibly into the medium tank or the TD. And then we get spotted by the 268. It's like, Mr. 268, you're still there? So let's see if we can get a shot into the T68, but we can't quite see him there. The M60 gets spotted, so we're going to take the opportunity to put a shot into that guy. And I can stay safe from that M60 behind this rock. I can get unspotted because I have very good camo, and then it's just rinse and repeat. Wait for that M60 to get spotted. But the M60's gone. The 114 SP2 would be, well, dying if he decided to poke over. The TD and the heavy tank are still here, the STRVK and the WZ-111. So we're going to go into the speed mode, so we travel quickly and then get up there to shoot them in the rear, especially since the heavy tank is now pushed at B8, B9. But that M60 made a break for it while we were crossing. It's like, hello, Mr. M60. You're trying to make a break for it, sir? No, 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 no. I don't allow these things. So we got a shot into the rear of the M60, and he stopped dead in his tracks. But again, the WZ-111 and the STRVK are going down. So we go back into the speed mode. And then we're going to push as fast as possible to try and get a shot into the side of the WZ. And there we go. We shut down that Chinese Tier 9 tank destroyer. Just the STRVK left. So I'm kind of hoping that I might have some help from the TD. But again, with the STRVK looking at me, I'm going to make it look like I'm running away. And then possibly I'm going to feint back to spin round to get some shots into him. But the M60's dropping down again. There's a possibility I could get shots into him. But no, we're going to go into the speed mode so that we can get back behind the STRVK. We've got to help this Minotauro out, because the Minotauro is a one-shot for him. So the more we can whittle this STRVK down into a one-shot so that the Minotauro can just finish him off, that will be great. The M60 gets shut down by the 114 SP2, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. So it's all about finding where the STRVK is. Hello, STRVK. We put a shot into his side, swivel, swivel, out of dodge as quickly as possible, and then use our mobility to get away. And this is where you can be annoying in a wheelie boy. And this is what you want to be doing. You want to be playing that feigning retreat, right? You want to be going, I've shot you, now I'm out of dodge. But then I might come back for you. So I have put the STRVK into that one-shot for the Minotauro area, or that area of a one-shot if he high rolls, right? But we see the TD in the distance, so it's like, Mr. TD, maybe I can get a shot into your rear. No, he gets shut down by the T249. And there's the 268. It's like, oh my goodness me, there's a 268. Oh boy, so we get a shot into the side of the 268. We've turned him sideways. We get up into his rear, and we're just going to start pumping shots into the back end of this guy. He gets tracked. He gets put down to a one-shot. RBRT. Should have aimed. Should have aimed. Bad play. Should have aimed there, because we RBRT the shot into his spaced armor, which means he gets to live. But We RBRT again. We didn't learn from our mistake, and we didn't get the kill there on the Object 26A, which is just a massive mistake on our part. We really should have aimed that shot properly there to be able to kill him, as we had his rear twice. But no, we ended up hitting his spaced armor, the magic Soviet spaced armor, which meant that we got the shot absorbed, and we didn't get the kill. But we finished the game with a really nice total there for the EBR 90. We finished with the victory. 2 kills, 4.4k damage, and we were just an annoying gnat in that game. We just kept taking a very good position where we could shoot both flanks. 1,331 assistance, the ace tanker, the Confederate medal, with the 1725 base XP. A really nice game there for the EBR 90 on Corellia, and that's kind of just how you want to be in it. You want to be just running around, getting into good flanking positions to destabilize attacks, that sort of thing. Not be the focus of people's attention. So you saw that with the WZ-111 and the STRV-K. Every time we poked over to get a shot into those guys, it was like, hey friend, and I was immediately getting out of dodge. I wasn't just sitting there going, hi friends, I'm going to shoot you a couple of times. It was, I've shot you, now I'm running away. And when you got unspotted, then we'd go back and do it all again, because they were being pressured from the other side, so they couldn't really ignore the tanks like the Minotauro for too long, because they'd end up taking hits from them, but they couldn't also ignore me, so it puts them between a rock and a hard place. But we're on to the third and final replay of this video, and we're on this map, which is Go Round Like a Donut Pass, or Dukla Pass. It's not really Go Round Like a Donut Pass on World War II too much, as you can do what we're going to do here, and that is we're going to push to the position at D3, D4. If we need to, we can get out quite easily. We see the teeth breaker, put a shot into the side of the teeth breaker, and of course we bounce, because why wouldn't we? He gets hit, we put an RBRT into his side, put him down to 681 damage. We get shot by something on that ledge at EF4, and we didn't spot it, which happens all the time in the EBR 90. The amount of times you get shot in this tank and you just don't spot what shot you is pain. And you're a light tank, right, bro? You know? It can be really frustrating because you feel like you should be being able to scout, but you just can't quite do it that easily in this vehicle. So right now, this Skoda T50 is being, well, to be quite frank, he's being abused. But he's the only one we can actually shoot right now. So we're just trying to get rid of a tank out of the game. Can't find a shot into the round panzer. Skoda T50 drives into the open, but we unfortunately missed the shot there into his side turret. We load the heat with 230 pen, which isn't always guaranteed to go through this guy's cupola, but, you know, we'll roll the dice. We're never going to pen it with AP, so we need the heat round. We're going to poke around the corner, see if we can spot anything on the corner. Oh, and there it is. It's Hori 2. And we spot that TD up because I wanted to know if I could poke any higher to get shots at the round panzer and the Skoda. So we finish off the Skoda there and get rid of that Czech tier 9 medium tank. There's a tank down at A2, so we could possibly get shots into him. Just watching behind us, just in case the Panzerjäger, which is what I'm assuming it is, I'm just taking a guess at this point, decides to come around and shoot us in the back, because that's what I was figuring might be shooting at us, is a Panzerjäger with heat, because even in a normal light tank, they're quite difficult to spot the Panzerjäger, so I was just assuming that that's the tank, and with what we got hit for, it's quite the possibility it could be. But no one's coming up behind us yet. We do have a decent amount of cover as well, which means we can be covered from that. And we're just waiting to see if we can get shots into the side of the tanks that have fled at B1. But again, this is where the view range of the vehicle can let it down. Because in quite a few other light tanks, if anything pushes down the one line back towards their base, we can actually spot it fairly easily. Anything pushes from behind those houses. In an EBR 90, we can't really do it. We can't find shots at the Hori 2 either, because 6 degrees of gun depression is a bit limiting. So instead, what I'm going to do is use the mobility to try and go find these guys. So we find the T100LT. Again, I'm hoping to spot them and hopefully get assistance damage, because, well, we're a scout, right? It's nice to be able to get assistance damage. But the T100LT gets out of dodge. The Hori is still up on that spot there. We end up crashing into the rocks because wheelie boys, they're quite hard to drive. Poke over again to see if we can find the Hori, but we get spotted and we don't find what it is. It's actually the T100LT that spotted us, and I was thinking that maybe that guy was coming after us. And there we go, TD behind us. And I'm like, wait, what's that? Oh, thankfully, it missed its shot on the move, and it was a Panzerjäger. I figured it was because of how hard it was to spot, and the fact that it hit us for about 250 to 300 odd. So I knew it was going to be something in that region, and the fact that it fires heat as well gave me a good indication of it. We managed to get 2 shots into the T100LT, but he gets 2 shots into us. We get another shot into the rear there of the T100LT, putting him down to a possible 1-shot for us. We do catch a shot from the Ho-Ri 2, but that shot from the Ho-Ri 2 was also from his little poxy little gun that's on the hull, which can still do some damage to us, but at least it wasn't the big main gun. If it was the big main gun, it would have been death for us there in our EBR 90. So we're up to 2.3k damage with 1152 assistance, and we're just being as careful as humanly possible, because we're now a 1-shot for a lot of vehicles in this game. We go back into our normal mode so that we're ready to shoot at any given moment in case the T100LT comes over, but also so we have the better turning circle so that we can get around some of these tanks. So we're going to poke over to get up behind the Ho-Ri, but we find the T100 and we kind of get lucky-unlucky. We get unlucky that we didn't roll for 240 to kill the T100LT. It's a 50-50 roll, but we should have been able to kill him in 1 shot there. So we got unlucky that we didn't kill him. But we got lucky that that T100LT on his return fire didn't kill us. So RNG giveth, RNG taketh, we'll take it. So we're just going to get away from that position where we were spotted, because the artillery is still trying to find shots. I'm going to poke up back on this ridgeline again, see if I can get some shots into the rear of the Ho-Ri, but the Ho-Ri's backed up into a position where he can actually proxy spot me as I'm coming up that way. So I decided, nah, I'm not doing that. So we're just going to use the mobility, think about possibly going up behind him at F4. Great driving, me, there's a building there. But maybe I can get up behind him. But also, if I'm spotted last time going that way, maybe he'll be turning to think I'm going to come up behind him or go a different way. So instead, we're going to do the Erno Reverso, and that is just pop up in a spot where he might not ultimately expect us. And there we go. We see the Ho-Ri, but no, he's looking at us. Oh boy, thankfully, my wheelie boy tricks, my wheelie boy antics make it difficult for him to judge where I'm going. And that meant that he didn't actually get a shot into us. And now my job here is to just keep this guy lit up and wait for my team to come after him and kill him, or wait for him to fire at one of my team so that I can finish him off. But we are keeping him distracted. He takes a big hit, which clearly makes him think, okay, maybe I should start to move into a better position to get safe. But thankfully, he ended up getting tracked, so we use our mobility to get around him and finish him off. And we're up to 2.8k damage with 1,571 assistance. There's an IS-7 down in their base at G1. It's like, okay, that's a full health IS-7, but sure. We kind of need to get rid of that guy. There's still 7 tanks left alive, though, and that means they're probably all in and around this corner. So we're going to go and see if we can get some shots into the artillery and into the IS-7. So the artillery gets spotted. We put a shot into him. We load HE, because this tank does have 75mm of HE pen, which is pretty good penetration for HE at any tier. And 320 damage on that HE means that we can put some significant damaging shots into the M4043, and it significantly ups our DPM as well. It's very, very effective against artillery, and it's nice to load, which is why we have it. So 1 artillery down, and we're going to go try and find the other one. But we've got HE loaded still. We can splash the T100LT if we hit it. We miss. He's going to go for the ram, and I'm like, oh no, absolutely not. He misses. We free aim the shot and finish him off there with a shot through the side of the 200LT. That was a very awkward moment. That could have gone very badly. But we get rid of that Soviet tier 10 light tank. And it's like, oh, that was close. Okay. We got 1 HE left. So we're going to go for the shot into the Batchat. Again, the Batchat's going to find this really awkward in this position, because he doesn't really have very good gun depression on his artillery, so we can try and abuse that. He's aiming straight at us, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take the risk, because he's got a terrible turning turret. Maybe I can use my top speed. Oh boy, he's still aiming at me. We put 2 shots into the side, and that was very risky. That was very, very risky. So I'm like, oh, can I do that again? I'm not sure I can. I might have to ignore the Batchat and try and get shots into the IS-7, but I don't have to do that. But the Batchat 15558 tries to come over the top to shoot us, and our Batchat 15558, who's been pressured by their tanks, ends up finishing him off. So we'll take that. Thank you, Mr. Batchat. We finished that little engagement with 2.1k assistance, 4.5k damage, the 4 kills. So we're in for a pretty damn nice game here in the old EBR 90. And there's only 3 tanks left on the enemy team, and they're all in the same spot. We know exactly where they all are. And we are a one-shot for at least two of them. T114 Battalion and Shtupatork, the Shrek, the TVP, the TVP 100. Can kill us in one shot with HE. With AP, he has to high roll. But it's still within the realms of possibility, so we've just got to be very, very careful. So that's what I'm trying to do, but the problem is they also have pretty decent camo. And the likelihood is they'll actually outspot me, or they'll spot me as I spot them. Which is why it's so bloody awkward in an EBR 90 at times, if anything has any sort of camo. Because they might have the same camo as me, but have better view range. So they'll spot me way before I spot them, and they'll be tank destroyers or medium tanks. And I'm a light tank, and I'm just getting outspotted, which makes me feel like, oh, what is my purpose? You know? But the nice camo with the good mobility does mean you can get in some very aggressive bush locations quite easily. But there it is, it's Centurion AVRE. We found him, he finally spots us because he gets close enough, or because we end up losing the foliage between me and him. And we're just kind of trying to put shots into the side of the AVRE before he can turn to shoot at us. He's now looking my way, so I'm like, no, I said, no, Mr. AVRE. You know, I'm not taking that hit. He ends up taking a hit, though, which gives me some assistance damage. I'm hoping he might be a bit distracted now, so I'm going to poke around the corner, see if I can find him. He ends up getting found right around the corner, and he's quite clearly climbing the ridgeline, which means he's not going to be in a position to truly shoot me unless he has to swivel his turret. So we're going to see if we can get into a good position to shoot the AVRE. But we find the T114 battalion, so we put a shot into the rear of the T114 battalion and then get out of dodge, because that man could kill us in one shot if we're not careful. The artillery misses his shot, but we're going to go and try and help him if we can. We missed the two shots. We can go finish the AVRE though, so we get the RBRT into the side of the AVRE, shutting down that tier 10 British medium tank. And there's only one, well, there's two tanks left. It's the TD at A3 and the T114 battalion. He is distracted with the artillery and is clearly loaded, loading, because he's not firing. We damage his ammo rack. Oh, I was hoping he'd ram the artillery, but we've got him two shot now. And then we bounce off his side. So we aimed up the shot, we bounced off his side, or the shot went too low. We put another shot in with Ricochet. He's now loaded. He finishes off the artillery. He damages our wheels with the first shot. We missed our RBRT and he finishes us off. Oh my lord, the RNG was so against those two bouncers. Oh, RNG, why? But we still finished the game with a really nice total. 5 kills, 5.8k damage, 2.4k assistance damage, the patrol duty, the Pascucci's medal, the high caliber, the ace tanker, for 2.1k base XP. A really fantastic game there for the EBR 90, which is a tank that I truly don't like. But doesn't mean you can't have bad games in the tank that you think is bad or you don't enjoy, but it's just that it's just absolute pain, realistically. But RNG did us in the end there against the T14 battalion, but it is what it is. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.